Welcome back, the Havana Lounge Podcast, Tuesday, 2 p.m. I'm sitting here with an ultra legend, and I can't believe he took time out of his day to come sit with me, chill out, go case by case. I'm not going to waste any time. I want to talk to this brother for about 37 years like this, so I'm going to go right in. Welcome to the Havana Lounge Podcast, the one, the only, the incomparable Ken Swift.
Peace. Thank you.
Rocksteady Crew, 7 Gems.
7 Gems, Break Like University.
There it is.
You know what I mean?
Mr. Swift, you have no idea how my brother, Sendog of Cypress Hill, used to call himself Send Stiff, based off your break name, right?
Okay.
Your B-boy name, Ken Swift, right? Sendog said, man, I love that brother so much, I want to be Send Stiff. And this was in the 80s. So we're going to start there, man, and maybe take it a little further into the 70s because, you got so much history, and we want to uplift you and educate at the same time, right? So thank you first for being here. Let me clap you up, man.
It's my pleasure. My pleasure. It's all good.
The incomparable Ken Swift, man. Let's take it to the early days of the Boogie Down Bronx for you, at your age, when the Bronx is burning. Yeah, you're a youngster. You're into shit. The city's burning. The Son of Sam, all that shit. Take me there from your perspective, like what you were going through when you saw this dance thing.
Well, first of all, initially, I'm from Harlem. I'm not from the Bronx. So I was born in Brooklyn, but raised in Harlem. And but of course, if people remember the lineage and the legacy of Rocksteady, it's one of the first crews that had Manhattan and the Bronx combine each other. That's how I met my brothers and sisters up there, and that's how they came down to 99th Street. And initially, for me, it was a music thing. It was finding my mom's records because my mom, I have 2 older brothers, and our dad was in the military and he was traveling all over. So, we ended up back in New York, you know what I mean? After, one of my brothers was born out here. My other one was born in Louisiana, and I was born in Brooklyn. So we were stationed out here, and then maybe about 5 years old, went back to New York because my parents split up. So we went to my grandmother's, my Lala's house, my mother's mother, in the projects. And that
in which project?
Douglas Projects on 100th Street between 100 and 106.
Now that's Bronx?
Amsterdam. This is Manhattan.
Manhattan.
Yeah.
Money
Manhattan,
making.
that's true.
No faking.
Manhattan Island. Yeah. Money Island.
Right.
And so it's a musical experience. And just being mesmerized by these James Brown albums, these horn sections, these drums. And it's just like, it was immediate, just there's something within me that was like, this is kind of nice, but it wasn't a hip hop thing. It was that you're talking about the Godfather of Soul.
Absolutely.
Selling hundreds of thousands of records worldwide. And hearing these songs and just the James Brown singing with this energy that could match any instrument, and power. So it was a couple of years after that when we got out of the projects. My mom landed a little spot, and then she got on a lottery, and then we landed something in 77. Yeah. In one block up, and this is when I met Doles, Devious Doles with the green pantyhose.
Absolutely.
Another one of the most important people to really kind of expose me to the culture as a whole.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, when I moved to 97th Street, he lived on the 3rd floor. I lived on the 2nd floor, and he's one of my brother's age, and.
How old is he, and how old are you?
I'm 56 in August, and Doles He's going to be 59.
We're the same age.
Yeah,
Get down.
right there.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, makes sense why we were gravitating to what you guys were doing. But go ahead.
So, so I had this thing in my head with music already, right? But I didn't connect it to anything. I was like, oh, those are my mom's records. But they sound dope. They sound funky.
You wasn't dancing yet. You hadn't discovered that.
I started playing percussion after hearing those records. I started playing bongos and congas, but not with theory. I just freestyled on drums and in junior high school and stuff like that. But when I met those, it was wall writing. These dudes were writing on trains. I was younger. My brother was going to music and art high school, and those was going to art and design high school. So they're both at the same time period in their life when they're exploring art, but not only just art, this underground, really secret society of wall writing and piecing and doing throw-ups and motion tagging.
If I'm not mistaken, Doze is an incredible artist now.
He's phenomenal. He's still
he's got some crazy work.
He's still doing his thing, and his thing went to another universe. Trust me when I tell you.
His stuff is beyond.
He's doing good. Let's just say that.
Absolutely. No, he's got these abstract pieces, and he really digs in deep. You know what I mean? When he's creating, you can just tell. I don't know the brother, but I do know what he's up to.
Well, he comes from that little black book situation, and that journey is just ridiculous because he still has some of those drawings.
Crazy.
I have an original from those.
Yeah.
From 81, I think it is. And it's on a little oak tag paper, but it's an original.
Yeah.
Designer markers.
Yeah.
Muggsy character.
Yeah.
I mean,
worth a couple million when he's gone, type of thing.
I tell you what, let's hope we all stay around for a long time. Because unfortunately, when people pass is when they get famous.
Right. Happened to Basquiat. It happened to so many
of them. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but you're here now. You're there in that time period. You meet Doze, right? And how does that whole thing go? How do you meet? Was y'all battling against each other?
We were skateboarding. Believe it or not, I used to board.
Yeah.
I was into that. They had a skate shop on 95th. I used to enter. I was a little dude. I would get on my hands, do crazy stuff on the skateboard. I won a few contests. They had slalom in Central Park, freestyle contest. So that was the first thing I seen him on the block. And I think he was walking his dog, but he would get on the board, and the dog will pull him on the skateboard. You know what I mean? And
let the dog do all the work.
Yeah, exactly. So he kind of clicked it off with my brother Tunir, my brother Darren. They kind of because they were the same age. I was a little younger, but we knew people from around that block because I only moved the block up. So we ended up seeing that we had things in common with certain people. Oh, you know Tyrone. Oh, you know Frosty. So we all started, having that experience of just building a nice little community of people doing art. But what it was is that he has a cousin named T, and he's a DJ from the Bronx. So T was the one who brought the cassette tapes. Not only from the Bronx, he brought them from Staten Island too. People don't know about that. I remember MC Rashawn from Staten Island. You got those projects where Wu-Tang is from. There was Zulu Nation out there already.
Yeah.
So the BX had T coming down with these tapes, and this is the first time I heard live, putting a tape in a thing outside in the park with the Furious 5 and Grandmaster Flash.
Sure.
And that changed everything.
How so?
I'd never heard people harmonize like that, couldn't identify with it. And it was so underground, it just made it interesting.
Do you remember where you were when you first heard this?
In his bedroom. He put it in a little tiny radio like this big.
Doze,
yeah. He put the tape in.
Yeah.
And we would just draw. And then I was like, what is this? And then he ended up getting a D1, got a Gemini up and down because T was putting them on.
Yeah.
And then we started digging in his dad's crates, just digging for breaks.
Yeah.
And that's around the same time that I saw kids up on 100th Street, a bunch of black kids. They used to flip. They used to do round off flipping. Really incredibly talented kids. They're all black, right by the Sand Park. And then there was music playing one time, and I believe it was Mike D and the Untouchables, because they're from Douglas Projects. And I saw some dudes go on the floor, some black kids, and I was like nervous a little bit. I was like, damn, is it all right? I wanted to do it, but I was like, what? And then there was one guy that was so good that I just left the circle. I just walked away. I was like, what did I just watch?
Now, is this during the same time period that Kool Herc is doing jams in the Bronx?
He wasn't that active. He was doing clubs and stuff like that. So when Herc kind of escalated his game, he was doing particular adult clubs.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not around my way. I was familiar with Herc. I was familiar with Africa Bambaataa, Soulsonic Force. They were bubbling. MC Glow, Pow Wow, you know what I'm saying? These are dudes that I met when I became a Zulu King.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And then everything just opened up from there. Again, because now I'm with the legends. I'm with some of the innovators. Grand Wizard Theodore. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Prince Whip. You know the movies, man. All these dudes are like superheroes.
Yes.
So I'm like a little dude just soaking it all in.
Sure.
And it was beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a full art experience.
Now, what about Grandmaster Flash? At that age, when you were young like that, coming into the game, had you met him already?
No. Nah, I couldn't be around certain people like that. Come on, I was a little dude, little, you know, didn't have
What
much.
year are we talking about, 79?
I would say 79. Sometimes, a lot of my people try to tell me, nah, it was early, but I think I still relate to like 79 was the winter of 79 or the spring of 79.
You're like 13, 14 years old.
12.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, so I mean, the timing was right, you know, and
so now
it all fell into play.
Those introduces you to some of these brothers, yeah? Is that how
Well,
that
Slimmy
goes?
D from Staten Island, he was bringing up other tapes.
Respect.
And then T was just getting some of the tapes from, you know, that were out there and about in the Bronx that were circulating.
Yeah. Now, when do you join Zulu Nation and become an official, you know what I'm saying, Aki?
Well, with the situation we had, we were already putting our work in. Like, we would go to other neighborhoods, which is dangerous. Even before I got into rock steady, I had my own crew called the Young City Boys. My older brothers were the City Boys with all the older cats. And they used to throw carnivals in our neighborhood, bring all the equipment, you know what I'm talking about. And we would just run around acting silly, you know. But started that crew, and you know, that's when the shirts and letters came into play.
Yeah.
You know, because I seen a group, I think it was the Manhattan Boys, a dude named Shaky. And I was like, I want a shirt like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I was like, we're going to get our shirts, put our horoscope on the arm, status on the other arm.
Yeah.
My first name was Ken Rock, Kenrok.
Yeah.
I spelled it with a K, though, because I was writing.
What made you switch to Ken Swift?
I like the fact of being
aside from
fast.
the fact your leg games was crazy.
Well, I see Swift as being this kind of example of quickness with finesse. Swift is a different word than fast.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And I admired the guys and the dancers I would see that made it look like they weren't even touching the floor. And I was like, I'm going to leave right now.
Who were some of those brothers?
Magnetic. What's this guy's name? Rump. Kid Galaxy. Pierre. Grego from the Executioners crew.
He's digging deep, people.
Doug, my man Doug, rest in peace.
Yeah.
Bunch of B-boys from the east side, Spanish Harlem would come to the park. That's why we got more, like they were coming, they were nasty. Like people couldn't deal with it, but the more they came, people started getting better.
Why does it always seem to me that Puerto Rican B-boys are just nicer than black B-boys? Why is that? Is that a myth?
We got to look into the situation that there's black Puerto Rican B-boys.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people really don't relate to that. And that's why when I met Nelsky, another dope B-boy, this dude is Puerto Rican. I thought he was, you know, African-American kid, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of them that ended up becoming my friends.
Okay.
They were Dominican, Puerto Rican, you know, they were Latinos coming from different, there was even a Chinese dude. Chinese Flash.
Shout out to Chinese B-boys
Chinese
all over
Flash
the world.
was his name. Salso Brothers. Chinese Flash.
Salso, that's another guy.
Well, right? Salso was Sasa is a B-boy dancer, but he's from the Bronx.
Okay.
I never really met Sasa.
Okay.
But he's legendary. This is where I would hear like Melly Mel, Kaz, you know, all these dudes say Sasa, you know, and a bunch of other names. But I wasn't from that generation, you know, so I don't really talk too much about a lot of them because I never really seen them dance. Yeah. And they're just elders, you know.
Okay, so now, how do you go from writing to becoming a B-boy?
I think it was something that was underground in the community, that it was just a different expression of art. When I was in 5th grade, they had a comic book club after school. So they give us colored pencils and comic books, and we would draw. And this is when my eyes started collecting more superheroes were dope, you know, even the words that would say power, whatever, it looked like graffiti. So I was already kind of leaning in the drawing direction. And then when I seen these black books from those, I was like, oh, and these markers, they smell crazy. I was like, I like these markers better than the pencils. You know, little kid stuff, you know? Little kid stuff, but I was around some of the top in each category.
Yeah.
I saw, the first B-boys that I saw were some of the top. That was the first example, you know?
Did you ever see the nigga twins throw down?
No. I've done work with the twins.
There's before your time, yes?
Yes, they're considered some of the first B-boys among many that are coming out the woodwork now. There's a lot of dudes that are online now that are finally getting a platform that are telling the story of the first B-boys.
Yeah, I'm seeing this. I'm seeing this.
And which is a good thing.
Yes, it's a positive thing because they're filling in a lot of blanks. You know what I mean? And they may have not gotten the shine because when you think of B-boying, you think of Rocksteady and New York City Breakers, and it stops there. All the other crews that were nice, you know, only you guys would know, you know, and because you battled them, right? And they never made it to the big screen. These other guys, you know, they weren't in Crush
of talented
Groove.
Dancers.
They weren't in Wild Style.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? So now you pick up the dance, right? And you're starting to really get down with it. You're starting to learn. How do you go about? How does it happen between you meet Frosty Freeze, Crazy Legs, you know, Kuriaki, and them boys?
Well, this leads. I should have answered your question about Rocksteady and how we got it, right? So basically, Frosty was the man around my block. His cousin was Tyrone Ty Fly, and Ty Fly was with the Young
Cold
City
Chillin'
Boys.
Records, right?
Nah,
not Ty Fly
was.
Okay.
He was a big kid. He's in some of the old
Fly
footage.
Ty. My bad. Okay.
Well, he was Ty Fly, and they had little in Young City. We had Fly Ty, Ty Fly, Little Ty Fly. You remember the littles, like so the younger dudes.
Yeah.
Young protege.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we was already flying colors, and when I heard about Frosty, because my man Dino, rest in peace, Dino was down with us. He was a dope B-boy in our crew, and we all broke. We all did it all, DJ and everything. Yeah. We had a big squad, you know. And what happened was, Legs had came down to 82nd Street, maybe a half mile from where I was at uptown, and I had met a dude named Louie Lou and a dude named Cool MCD or something. This is a big dude from 82nd Street. I'm a Spanish cat, but he was like the man. He was like the Herc around that block. You know, it's always crazy because
this is Bronx River or Bronxdale?
No, this is downtown Manhattan. Okay. This is 82nd Street and Amsterdam Avenue. So then from that point on, it was like the way everything unfolded, and this has to be mentioned because it's really important. You know, there was a point when, you know, we got on some underground dance stuff, right? So we went out to USA Roller Skating Rink. Legs went out. It was with Frosty and Nelson, and there was a few of us that took the train out to Queens. Yeah. And nobody said what it was going to be, but we all started breaking, and it, you know, Legs had a year on me, you know, and he was going out, and I was waiting for Frosty to go out on him because Frosty was the elder. Yeah. And Frosty just chilled there, and it ended up Little Crazy Legs and Nelson, they're two little dudes, almost the same size. They started going at it, and that was more exciting. And then when we left the USA, I was like, damn, I was mad at Frosty. I was like, damn, why you didn't have my back? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I didn't know, look, it wasn't no, you got to battle to get in stuff at that time. That's a misconception. And
is that right?
There's literature that says that, which is foul, because it wasn't like you had to, from that point on, that became the language of the streets. You know, if you want to get in the crew, you got to battle to get in. Yeah. But that first moment,
not at the first moment.
No, but I didn't even, nobody knew what was happening.
I fuck with you, you fuck with me,
nobody knew what was happening, but when, true story is, rest in peace, Frosty Freeze, when we came back to Manhattan, the next day he said to me, Kenny, he said, look, Legs wants us to be down with Rocksteady crew. And I was like, he wants me and you to be down. He said, but I don't even like that name, Rocksteady crew, because he was down with Rock City crew, with some of the legends from, so his teachers are Sundance, you know what I'm saying, from the Zulus, you know, these are the Manhattan Bronx, and that's why Frosty had the original style, more of an original style, because he's seen a lot of the original dances, including dance and Charlie Rock, nigga Charlie, they used to call him, you know what I'm saying, just use the expression, but these dudes was nasty at their time. Yeah. But, you know, life moved on, you know, people
responsibilities,
the streets threw some people in some yokes, you know.
Absolutely.
But the way we got down, because Frosty said, if you want to do it, I'll do it. He put it on me. Yeah. And I was like, he said, we'll be co-vice presidents. So it was already a chapter of Rocksteady. Rocksteady started in the Bronx, from what it says, 77. Okay. They gave Crazy Legs a chapter to come downtown, and he wanted to expand on it. So he came down. We were already bubbling. Nobody taught me how to break from the Bronx. I was already learning how to break by just watching the people from the projects.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Nobody unearthed Kenny or Frosty. We was already in Manhattan.
There's no father to the man's style.
No. They didn't. But people wrote
There's
that.
no father, man.
People wrote in some books. They did this. The
Yes,
okey doke
we
talk
see a
about
lot of that
somebody,
in hip-hop
somebody
now.
exposed. I'm like, nah, I was
Absolutely.
nice with mine. I was nice with mine at an early age because I tell you, I seen them dudes. So we ended up doing that, right? And Take One, the writer, rest in peace, another one of the real rocksteady dudes. I'll say it. You know, he was the real kind of link that connected us with Henry Chalfant, which is the graffiti photographer, sculptor from the village. He was the one, and I interviewed Henry, and Henry told me the whole story. I was, you know, I've been doing some filming projects for a long time, and I finally got Martha, finally got Henry, and they refreshed my memory because I was so little, a lot of that stuff flew over my head.
Sure.
But he told me, and Take was the one that connected us, and from that point, the Village Voice magazine with DJ Ruddy T, Fab Five Freddy, Rammellzee, Rocksteady Crew, T Kid did the backdrop.
Sure.
That came out in the Village Voice magazine, and that was the beginning of what would be this nice blend of the whole culture.
Guys, I'm going case by case with the one and only, the legend, the ultra legend pioneer, b-boy, hip-hop extraordinaire, Ken Swift. It gets no better than this. If you're me, and if you were me, you would know how I feel. This is a crazy, great experience, you know what I mean? So I'm bringing you into my living room, chopping it up with my man right here, man. You said a name there that touches crazy heartstrings. Rammellzee.
Oh, yes. Yes.
First time I saw Rammellzee and you was on Wild Style, the movie. He comes out with a shotgun in his hand and he's bussing, you know.
Yep.
Break it up, Cypress Hill, because the writing's on the wall, so get down, get down.
There's footage of the New York City rap tour that's online. When we were in France, when we first went to France with the whole Roxy's project, Rammellzee was he was doing his own thing on that microphone. I'm gonna tell you right now. He was going off the top of the head. And he was changing range, and he was he'll smoke a cigarette and be. My man was the truth with that, and I always speak about him in the teachings.
So do I.
In the teachings, because he's very relevant. Not only that, with his Gothic futurism, this dude was making. I mean, when I was working downtown, he's whistling out a window of a small building. I'm like, what's up? He's like, come upstairs. So I went up, we fried some shrimp, lit up a fat one, you know what I'm saying? And then he was showing me these incredible, you've seen it in some of the footage. I have. But he was just his
iconic
was
panzerism.
Iconic
panzerism. He had these phrases that were amazing. Man. His characters, Chaser the Eraser, and all these other ones. And then he'd say, he was a pimp. He was a pusher. He was a, he had characters and charismatic. Lives.
What a personality he had, man.
But aside from all that, you want to know why I brought his name up? Because I gotta say, I learned from him from living in LA. And when I first did my second single in the business, I did a joint called Rhyme Fighter. And I kind of threw my voice like this, like the Rammellzee. And then my man B Real of Cypress Hill asked me, could he use that style? And I'm like, it ain't really mine, but it is mine. I used it. I copied a piece of Rammell. And Rammell said this. He said, this is the mellow they call the Rammell. That woke me up. That's why I'm Mellow Man Ace.
You mentioned that to me when I seen you when I first got out here. And I was like, of course.
No lies. I tell no lies. And then when he says, we lived on a street called Cypress Ave. But we always felt we were higher than the competition because we used to get high, we used to get lifted. And so we said, we on top of the hill, so it was Cypress Hill. So when now he comes out and says, break it up, Cypress Hill, because the writing's on the wall, so get down. The B-boys, rock on, don't stop, the B-boys.
Nice,
you know what I mean?
He was nice with it. His voice was just crazy. You couldn't not look at him when he would rhyme.
You have no idea, people. You have no idea. I want you to look into the man, Rammellzee. One of my favorite joints is Beat Bop, produced by the one and only Basquiat. Ken, so now you're doing your thing. Leg says, come join.
So so there's about 6 dudes from the BX. Mr. Freeze, Take One.
Mr. Freeze.
Okay, they all up there, and we downtown. So most of my guys from Young City came into Rocksteady. Not all of them, you know, because you had to have some nice skills. People would say they were down Rocksteady, but we knew who the front line was. When we was going to go battle people. And we also had a nice little strong arm for the community. You know, so when we go to another neighborhoods, we don't get.
You got to roll deep. You got to roll
Yeah.
deep.
And so we all got together, and to answer the question about the Zulu Kings and Rocksteady Zulu Kings, we started doing these appearances in the East Village, you know, at the kitchen. You know, you got Michael Holman, you got Keith Haring, you know, you got all these celebrities, you know, and these punk rock / hip hop experimental places. And that's when we went to the Ritz to see it. And Bow Wow was performing, which is a punk rock group, and Soul Sonic was performing.
Yeah.
And when Soul Sonic went on, we spazzed out in the crowd. And that's when Bam was like, yo, there need to be Zulu Kings.
Now, how do you guys recruit Rammellzee to be y'all's MCs and shock out while y'all break it?
You know, Rammellzee was already connected with that scene in its own right. I believe, you know,
we're talking about the art scene
coming out of Brooklyn.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Rammellzee.
Yeah.
You know, so he's old,
Far
he's
Rockaway?
older. Yeah, he's older. And, you know, I mean, so he was already connected with writers, you know what I'm saying? And they had, you know, once again, we're little dudes, you know what I'm saying, coming up, you know, but it just happened like that organically. Look, T-Kid did that painting. Rammellzee was there, Fab Five Freddy. These people are kind of like already, you know, experienced more than
they're in their 20s, you're in
people.
your teens.
Yeah. And that's when it all clicked and everybody was just having fun, bugging out with it. Nobody knew what it would become. And we just wrote it.
I love the scene in Wild Style. We're going to talk about how you got involved in Wild Style, but let's talk about that right now. Fuck it. Mm-hmm. How do y'all go from we're just on the block to Henry Chalfant wants us in this movie?
Well, it's, you know, the connection between that
Charlie
art,
Ahern and
Charlie A.
Yeah.
So that connection with the art in general, once again, this is an underground community. It's like this secret society I always mention. And we knew what it was, you know, and we all wanted to be down so bad. We wanted to show improve, you know. So the thing was, Charlie Ahern was already a filmmaker. He has a movie prior to Wild Style, I think.
Is that right?
With Fred Brathwaite. Yeah, there's a
check
radical movie of martial arts or something crazy.
Is that right?
Yeah. I wish I could have that on my my mind right now, the title of it. But you can
if
find
it comes back to you, let me know.
You could find it. The story of that. Okay. So he's, you know, then the Wild Style thing is about Charlie Ahern trying to raise money, him and Fab Five Freddy and their little team of people having this vision to bring the best
what the
MCs,
film is about.
To bring the best MCs,
throw the jam,
DJs, yes,
in the Lower East Side, yeah.
And it was mainly them. We
That's funny because I've watched that movie 300 times probably, and I never got like, well, what's the purpose of the story? But it is that when you come to think about it, Fab Five Freddy, and he's a slick talker. He goes uptown, gets the money people behind what it is, right?
And then the fairy tale graffiti writing girl, you know what I'm saying, boyfriend, girlfriend.
Right. With Lee Quinones and them. Yeah. But see, the thing is that you never see the Charlie Ahern character. So you don't equate it, you know what I mean? At least I did.
I think he has a cameo in Wild Style.
Does he?
Yeah. I think in the Dixie, I think there's it might be. I might be wrong, but I think he may have had some sort of cameo in the audience.
Yeah, the way I got it is more like Fab Five Freddy was taking the lead. You know what I mean? Like this is his journey to connect these two worlds. Yeah. You know, and since he was in the crew with Charlie A, then it makes a lot of sense. And, I mean, he can't be in front of the camera and behind it at the same time, right? Still an iconic film that, I mean, it was 1981 when it dropped.
Yep.
Yeah. In theaters, in certain theaters, limited theaters.
Well, the situation was it didn't drop. See, 42nd Street was the big deal. That's where you wanted your movie to be.
Yeah.
It took 3 years for that to happen. And when he released the film, you know, it was shown at specific spots.
At specific times.
We took it to we did the Wild Style tour to Japan. And that's where it got more exposure.
Yeah.
And everybody loved it.
Who booked that? Who booked that for you guys? Do you know?
I don't remember.
Because at that time, I mean, we're watching from the West Coast, and we're seeing this in newspaper articles. Like, for instance, when you were on the David Letterman show, I remember my crew was huddled around the TV at my mom's house, and we watching this. So we had to do the knowledge from, 4,000 miles, 3,000 miles, whatever it is. New York to LA, 5,000? 3,000?
What?
Around 3,000.
About 3,000. Yeah.
Look over.
So we're doing the knowledge. We're pulling paper clippings. We're watching you on David Letterman. You know, we're watching Funky 4 Plus One More on Saturday Night Live. We're trying to piece this culture together in our minds so that we can hip hop to the best ability that we can on the West Coast. You being there gives us that full insight, right? So now we can put all these pieces together. So now we're Wild Style. Now, how do you get involved? Who calls you? Does Doze call you like, yo, they doing a jam for a movie at the thing?
We were bubbling, man. We were in these clubs. People knew we were good like that. And we had an interesting group.
Great thing. Why didn't you do the reversal with Legs and go, no, you joined Rock City?
Well, that's Frosty. I was too young to speak like that.
Okay.
Frosty was just practicing humility. You know, Frosty's got a good spirit. You know what I'm saying? Those that know him know he was funny like that. And he was just a cool dude. He didn't want to take all the shine, but he had it already. Yeah. You know, like when he walked down the block with his afro bouncing and threw a round off into a summy, everybody have a smile on their face immediately. And just start bouncing around. You know, and that's that Frosty Freeze appeal. But Frosty was a student of most of the guys from Rock City also, you know. And there was also City Rock crew was also from another crew with Angel Dust in them. So the wordplay was like, you know, I get it. You know what I mean? The Young City Boys, it doesn't have any ring to it, but that's what we were.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, for us looking on, there was a lot of rock, Planet Rock, Steady, these things. And that was a big deal back then. But tell me this, man. I mean, there's just so many places I could take this. Excuse me. When you do your part on Wild Style and you rocking that red outfit you killing them, right? Ram is on the mic. Did you feel like you really stuck it right there? You know what I mean? Like you was when you end like this.
Well, you know, the thing about it is that, you know, we're cutting action, you know, we're rolling, changing film.
So you did that like 30 times.
Not that much. I mean, they were happy. They didn't have that much money for that. You know, like the budget was low. So Charlie wanted to speed that up. He's like, yo, let's get it. But we were just going off. And I think what they caught, there may have been more that hit the floor and didn't get in.
Yeah.
But I thought it was dope. Everybody did put their work in for that last scene.
Yeah.
You know, but the pressure was in the Dixie Club. I just want to mention that because you brought it up.
Yeah.
You're talking about the end of the movie. When we went up to the Dixie, that's an actual club in the Bronx that we went to. The Hood was in that spot doing a movie.
Okay.
Cold Crush, Fantastic Five. And then I'm up there with the crew and I'm like nervous, bro. Like seriously, like I don't want to do bad.
Yeah.
And I just...
Oh, not nervous because, we could get clapped in here.
I was nervous because people would laugh at you if you was whack. People would clown you and your whole rep
Come on, man.
destroyed.
You can't Swift. You telling me you were whack at one time?
Everybody is a toy at some point. You know what I mean?
My man.
And but I mean, I think I did pretty good.
Yeah.
In my first year, I think I picked it up.
Let me tell you, bro. You killed that movie, Wild Style. Your finesse was, you was there to impress, bro. It comes across
that's the one
screen.
that I felt good about, the Dixie scene.
Yeah.
When I saw it, I was like, oh, thank God.
Okay.
Because it came
What
out
about
real
the
good.
throwdown in the amphitheater on the Lower East Side?
I liked it. You know, did the little baby swipes.
That's right.
Did a little post up on him. You know what I'm saying?
Mugged them. Yeah.
Quick. That's that quick freestyle.
No doubt. Ken Swift is my guest. People, if you don't know, you should have a good picture by now. This man is ultra legendary. Talking to this man who's accomplished so much. One of the first B-boys to take B-boying to the major in the big screen of film. I mean, the throwdown jam in the subway on Crush Groove, epic.
Beat Street.
I'm sorry, Beat Street. Yes. I get my movies confused sometimes, but Beat Street. Take me to Beat Street, all right? Because that scene in the subway, how do y'all get involved with Harry Belafonte now and move off into that?
Okay. So we were already, we were getting, quote unquote, famous. We were structuring, we were getting more professional at things. And then people had their eyes on us and wanted to use us.
This is after the popularity of Wild Style.
On the sidelines, that's like, we got to capitalize on this Bronx, whole thing. we were going with the flow. As long as they give us our little $20 here and there, we were happy.
Yeah.
You know, that went a long way at that time.
Absolutely.
But we were getting more popular, and the whole idea with Beat Street was kind of spun off of some writings. I think there was some writings that Stephen Hager did that kind of leaned in the direction with David Picker and Harry Belafonte. I could be wrong.
Okay.
But what they did is they, had their whole structure going for the film and all that other stuff, right?
Yeah.
We were just the dancers in the film. We weren't, we didn't have principal big roles.
Sure.
So,
but you guys were the highlight. You guys stole the film.
But here's the situation. A lot of people don't know. So they did a big breakdance contest in New York to find the group to be in the movie, because they already had Lee from Beat Street Breakers.
Yeah, the black kid.
Yeah. They already had the New York City Breakers. They already had that structure.
So he was actually a b-boy from over there.
He broke. I think initially, I don't know his. I think he was around every. Look, at one point you could see it everywhere in New York.
Yeah.
So and you could say, someone's a b-boy if they live the lifestyle, but everybody tried it. It's the same way people throw a worm in a party.
Alfonso Ribeiro, have you seen those?
Yeah.
Here's how the pop lock.
Yeah, not only him, Vin Diesel too was in the Roxys, and he was doing, he used to pop and all that stuff. But
shout out to the fuck shit. Shout out to the fuck shit. Because without the fuck shit, you can't really tell what the real shit is. You know what I mean?
So they had a contest, and Dynamic Breakers won.
Dynamics.
We were on tour already, because we did this pop single called Hey You the Rocksteady Crew.
I remember.
Where Dose did the little record with the characters.
Yeah.
And
with the blue suits.
And we out there doing, look, we could laugh about it now, but I wouldn't change it.
I never laugh about it. That shit is like my childhood, like my upbringing. People try to clown it.
People try to clown it.
Really?
Yeah, because the music was corny, the lyrics were corny, but I understand that. And I would never take anything away from that experience, because all the dummies that try to front, they would have did the same thing. They would have took that.
No, I don't know why anybody would trip off that, man.
They try to. They try to with the
B-boys
suits.
rapping, man. Like, so what?
They
let's go.
You know how it is.
I do. And I'm just saying it for the record.
So Dynamic, right? Before I lose my chain of thought.
Now, Dynamic is a group of Puerto Rican, Dominican niggas that are just nice.
Queens. Yeah, they back and forth. They got members, and they won. They won the contest. So
who did they beat?
I don't even know.
We wasn't there. You was on tour.
And we weren't even considered.
Now, did they beat New York City?
Here's what happened.
Okay.
When we came back, somebody said, because we used to be in the Roxys all the time, because Ruza Blue was managing that, those Wheels of Steel nights at the Roxys, inviting all the best top Bronx DJs and MCs, and then we would do a performance every night at midnight.
Okay.
So we already had this clientele, and somebody reached out and said, "Can you guys come for an audition?" So now at this point, it's 1 girl and 5 guys: Buck Four, Kuriaki, Dose, Legs, and me.
Yeah.
Right? And Baby Love. When we were going into the audition, Dynamic was coming down the stairs.
Yeah.
And they were pissed. I don't know if they were arguing with each other. Something happened upstairs. So we're walking in with duffel bags. We are on some professional. We are on some professional.
Yeah.
And the team is in there, and they're like, "You guys ready?" You're like, "Yeah, we're ready." And we did the stuff we were traveling with, and it was so structured and clean and professional. They were like, "You guys are going to be in the movie."
Yeah.
And we became the bad guys for the film.
Yeah.
The enemy group.
Yeah.
But we weren't supposed to be in that movie. That was Dynamic. Dynamic was supposed to be in that. Yeah.
Hey, man. Hey, that's a tough one.
It is.
It's not your fault. It's just the best man won there. One of those type of things. And it's Hollywood, man. You got to go with it. Sometimes you get them. Sometimes you don't land the role. And it's just a part of acting. Mm-hmm. Now, when do you find out that your rival in this film is going to be New York City Breakers?
We kind of knew it, because we had already battled them when they were Floor Masters. So we're taking it back to Negril in 1980 or 81, and this is when the Village was bubbling. Like I said, man, you go in a spot like smoke-filled rooms, people everywhere, tags, and just crazy punk rockers with crazy haircuts, and then us with our fat laces. Everything was just culture clash, right? Michael Holman set up a battle with Legs for us to battle the Floor Masters in Negril, in the basement.
Yes.
As part of us, showcase for the evening. And that's the first time we battled them. And they were up and coming. You know, they had good b-boys, no doubt about it. The battle was really, really close.
One of my favorite b-boys from them is rest in peace, Glide Master.
Glide Master, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they already had their team, but they were getting seasoned and they were getting better and better and better. And they were really specializing in a lot of spins and stuff like that.
Yes, their aerials were crazy.
They were into, you know, I mean, it could be said that they favored certain things.
Yes,
we favored certain things,
head glides and things of that nature.
Yeah. They were more the futuristic version, you know, like Michael Holman had a vision.
Yeah.
And just to piggyback on that, Michael Holman was the one who wanted to put in the Olympics in 1983. He wanted that group.
Yeah.
He wanted that group. He pitched it and they weren't, they were like, no.
You mean 84? 84.
Probably early than that.
I remember 84 because I worked the Olympics here in Los Angeles.
I
was in the kitchen cooking.
You remember Graffiti Rock,
dishes.
right? You remember Graffiti Rock?
Absolutely.
So when he put them in them suits, we was dying laughing. We couldn't take it, man. But his vision was bobsled type of, he already had that idea of trying to get it into the Olympics.
Yes.
You know?
No wonder now, okay.
Yeah.
So by the time they do the President Reagan inauguration in those suits, this is why he's trying to do it.
He's trying to pitch it that way.
As a sport. Amazing.
And they had no concern.
Yeah.
And the timing wasn't right, I guess. What can you say? You know, we had to sustain this culture ourselves for 40 plus years after that.
True.
You know, and
because they felt they squeezed all the lemons out. Oh, it's over with. Blah, blah, blah.
And ridiculed it.
Meanwhile, they didn't think about this. That you guys gave birth to it all around the world.
Worldwide.
And there's kids in Indonesia and France and Japan and China and places that we've never even gone to.
Wouldn't even imagine people having.
Yeah.
And even some countries where, I mean, true story, you know, in Brazil, in Rio, we met a crew there in 97 and they said, there's a couple dudes that are real famous artists called Os Gemelos. I don't know if you're familiar, but
Not familiar.
They had a crew and they said that they would all pitch in the money to buy batteries to bring the radio in the movie theater just to tape the music off the radio.
Damn. That's amazing.
Buy
man.
D batteries, you know. So I mean, you think about that instinct and that you know, that just need to be a part of something that's so powerful.
Yeah.
That's why the world grasped it.
No, I get it.
Powerful.
I get it. Like I told you, we were trying to piece together this culture through newspaper clippings, magazine articles, and if we were lucky, in front of the TV, the David Letterman show when you and Legs had that routine. I know exactly how it starts.
Routine. Turtle routine.
Yeah, hey man, is that what you called it?
Yeah, it's a turtle routine.
To this day, when I rhyme, I have routines. Like over the weekend, I was in San Jose and Salinas, California, and I ran the Mellows House routine. And we have certain skits and we have names for them based off the way y'all named your routines. So
interesting.
Enough respect there. Kenny, man, it's a blessing to have you here. I just wanna take a second before we keep moving on. I'm wrapped in it, man. I told you an hour. I think an hour already went through, just about. I want to give a big shout out to my sponsors at AV Chevy, which actually send you this gift bag. I want to give you this before we continue on.
Dynamite. Thanks,
you can look at it later.
Cool.
I want to give a shout out to Daily Ads and to my sponsors over at Cilantro Lime Restaurant in downtown LA. Go over there. They got the Mellow Man Ace inspired torta with everything except ostrich meat up in that piece. Trust me, it's delicious.
Right.
And to my new sponsor, Sterling Images, thank you for believing in the show. We appreciate you. Swift, now Beach Street. You're in there. Take me to the subway scene.
It was written in the script, and it was like, it was kind of, they tried to choreograph us, and a lot of that flipping was not us. That was them telling us to do that.
Okay.
But the rocking was real. The rocking was the forward. But all that running cartwheel stuff, we didn't really like that, man. And they put it in the movie. But look, man, to this day, people around the world, when they talk and then we have a conversation, they say that scene just bugged them all out.
Yeah, it didn't
raw.
bother me. I just thought it peculiar. I didn't, put too much on it. But it was y'all, man, and it's all that mattered to us. And I'm talking about at the time, me and myself, Be Real, my brother were break dancers. My man Tomahawk Funk. We were B-boys. Some of us were pop lockers. That's how we kind of broke in the game before we transferred to and changed the energy to the mic. So we're watching you guys. You guys kind of birthed us in that,
Mm-hmm.
and I appreciate it and thank you right here, right now.
Oh man, it's all good.
So now they choreographed this, and you're like, that shit is whack. But fuck it, for the paycheck, we'll do it.
No, but it was cool though, man. Because you know the thing that I like, the aesthetic behind it was, it's dirty under the ground. It's Subway is dirty and it's raw. It's not a club.
Yeah.
Anything can happen. No security. You know, so we're walking out there with a big radio. They on the other side. That face off is everything.
Classic.
And they slowed it down too. If you look at it, they put it in slow motion right before we walked. So I mean, I see how it can impact people.
Who did you battle that day? Who was your
that was another one where they kept shooting. So
okay,
it was
so
off and on.
you random, you picked.
It was more rocking. It wasn't really that much breaking on the floor.
Right. Yeah. But as your b-boy, I mean, up rocking and whatnot, who were you taking your head off? The head off there? Action, Chino.
I don't remember. I think I was going at Kid Nice.
Kid Nice.
I think so.
Yes.
It's a long time ago, but I know that Doze got it in. Doze got it in on that scene. He got his really good. That was real. Like when the rocking was going on, they wanted they didn't want to simulate a fight, but they wanted to make it look like there was a fight. And this is also based on behalf of High Times crew. The pictures of Martha took of those kids.
Martha Cooper?
They were breaking in the subway in 70-something.
Yeah.
And the cops thought they were fighting. And they grabbed them, and she just happened to be there to shoot that. So this is what Beat Street was trying to do. The same thing. That's when the cops came and said, "Oh, they're fighting," you know, and they chased everybody, and you know, so they're kind of leaning in some of the reality of the story.
Yeah, that's crazy. So that never really took place in a real battle. You're saying?
In a real battle, we would have been breaking. This is more flipping and on top styling and making it look like someone's. If you look at it and you've never seen it, you think they're fighting, right?
Yeah.
Because the hands are close to the face. You know, you don't know if someone's getting touched.
Yeah, I mean, if you're an old motherfucker, you know what I mean. But I think if you know a little bit about dancing, you know, just a little bit about dancing, I think you could tell this is an art form. They're styling. This is
it's very much
sort of like capoeira or something.
Very much so. And just to make it very clear to people, understand that freestyle and rock existed before breaking was born. You know, this is the dances that birthed breaking, in my opinion, because the younger kids were the ones that did the breaking stuff, because they were not going. You couldn't go to a club with pro kids and cut off shorts. Yeah. So the more sophisticated style of dance is called rock or freestyle. It existed with the guys and girls that were going to the clubs at that time.
Got you.
You know,
hence
they would dress with finesse. Cologne, you know what I'm saying? Cotton ester, polyester, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Looking good and dancing to impress women.
But you never did that, right? You never put on a suit and tie to go dance.
When I got older, when me and Doze saw the rocking for the first time, we was just so hyped up behind it. We didn't see the finesse behind that dance. It's a very classy dance. I've interviewed some of the first dancers from the Bronx and Manhattan, even Queens. Yeah. From that generation, late 60s, early 70s, where they broke it all down for me. And I got it. And when I teach, I share that. I kind of see physically how that worked. When you look at the regular step that goes right to left, before B-boys and B-girls go down to the floor, you could look at that same type of style of step with rocking, but it's a step, it's not a jump. B-boys did more of a bouncing style. Sure. You understand? So the connection is there.
The connection is there.
But once someone went to the floor and started staying there, that's when dance changed. Absolutely. That's why when we look at dance visually and we're looking at dance in a club, right? It goes like this for about 4 minutes, and then you might look down because someone does a drop, and then they get up, right? So when breaking was born, everything came to look down on it. And now the moment changed. So basically 5% of the dance, right, of breaking is doing the top rock steps. 95% of it is what you could do on the floor on your body. Right?
And not enough guys pay attention to the top rock.
But the opposite is rock. 95% is what you do on top, and 5% is when you go to the floor for a drop or a spin down. You don't stay there. Yeah. So dance changed at that moment where everybody visually started watching dance this way.
Interesting.
And it was exciting, and people couldn't get enough.
You guys are in for a treat today. The legend Ken Swift is with me. We're going case by case. A true documentarian, also of the dance forms. You can hear it in his voice. You're very passionate about speaking on not just the past, but where things are today. and it's just phenomenal to have you here, brother. We're coming up on an hour.
Glad to be here.
And I don't want to keep you too much. I might have to bring you back for a part 2.
Mm-hmm.
But so now, Beat Street drops. I mean, come on, man. Now it's like, you're just now you're
celebrities.
Global.
Celebrities.
Yeah, you're full blown celebrity.
Cannes Film Festival.
Yeah.
Flying in charter flights.
Yeah.
Now we stepped it up a little bit.
Yeah.
You know.
Along the way, you lose Frosty Freeze and a couple brothers.
Mm-hmm.
How difficult was that?
Well, the streets were difficult. At that time, crack epidemic, everything exploded in New York, man, like it did everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people took hits from all directions, and so did the dance. A lot of people were starting to ridicule breaking. They were like, "Oh, y'all getting dirty," you know, like people would just. And then there were comedy shows where they would ridicule it. "Oh, you got to go to the breakdance hospital," you know. So it was becoming like a fad style joke.
Yeah.
And people like myself, I was like, "Yo, that's messed up, man. This is a real dance, you know. This is a legitimate dance. It's one of the most interesting dances that's ever existed when you really take a look at it." So everybody kind of took beatings, you know, in their own way, through addiction, through jail, through, you know, violence. There was a lot of trauma.
Did that hurt the group ultimately?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it affected things. Affected people.
When you take away from such a chemistry, you take away 2, 3, 4, 3 parts of creativity from something like that. I'm sure it's difficult to replace that. You know,
we were also, you know, we were used to getting paid, and the money stopped coming in, and people had to keep the hustle on to look good. You had to maintain that the way you always look fresh. You know, not you got to figure out a way to maintain it. Unfortunately, teenage mind state.
People's perceptions are what they are.
Teenage mind state. Yeah, so we all tried to keep going, man, but it just fell apart. Yeah, you know, and people went their own ways. You know,
rest in peace, Buck 4, Kuriaki, and
Kippy
of course,
D, Take One.
Kippy,
Frosty Freeze.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a bunch of brothers and sisters, man, that, you know, that were down with the family that didn't make it. But, I mean, their legacy lives on, though. You know, because that footage exists. You can still see Frosty dance on footage.
Yeah.
Imagine not being able to see, you know, like when we think about the first generations of dancers, they didn't have video cameras. So we can't really see what they did.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Some of them can explain it. Because when I saw the twins in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, right? We did a great panel. We did so much great things. And in the after party, I was like, I hope they dance. You know, like, and one dude was, I think one of the twins, his leg was messed up, you know, because, you know, they had walk with a cane.
Yeah.
And, you know, but I seen one of the brothers do like this like little jump to the side.
Yeah.
And not really a full squat.
Right.
But I was like, okay, at least a little something, you know what I'm saying? He's feeling it. And it wasn't in a circle. It was just on the moment, on the spot, you know, which is interesting.
I wish I could have been there. You know what I'm saying? Ken, tell these people, man, that are watching right now how they can find you. If you, I know you teach as well. So if you want to put your information out there, maybe there's somebody watching might want to bring you to their country, state, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Instagram is right there. That's more than enough. People know how to reach me.
Okay, good.
People know how to reach me, and it's like I'm flexible. I'm a supporter of this culture. You know, and would love to continue traveling and doing what I'm doing.
Absolutely.
Because this is my life. And at the same time, you know, I'm here in LA. I work, you know, off and on doing semesters at the universities.
Speak on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a couple of good people I ran into in New York City. I got a scholar in residency at NYU. Yeah. For a book project through Imani Johnson.
Congrats.
Wonderful woman. And did a lecture out there. Yeah. And she ended up coming out here and teaching at UC Riverside.
Okay.
And when I moved out, she was like, yo, we want to push for you to teach at UCR. And I said, really? And she was like, yeah, we're going to push for it. And I was denied twice, and then they finally let me in. Yeah. And I did a lecture. I did 40-hour lecture, 40-hour dance, 2 classes for the spring semester. Did it 2 years in a row. Yeah. Things went where they went. Traveling picked up. And then Rennie Harris is a cool dancer from Philadelphia. He was already at UCLA teaching house and funk styles and stuff like that. Yeah. I don't want to call them funk styles, but dances, you know, like the West Coast style dances mixed with house.
Little locking.
And he ended up moving on. And a girl that was taking his classes there saw me at Hollywood Bowl at a concert.
Okay.
And she's like, I know who you are.
Yeah.
Would you like to teach at UCLA? And I was like,
whoa.
I was like, who is this person coming up to me like that? UCLA? I was like,
yeah, that's a big name to throw around there.
And I was like, yeah, I mean, whatever. I didn't believe it at all. I was like, nah, they're not going to put me in that. World Arts, Cultures, Dance. And he reached me, Rennie, and he was like, yeah, Ken.
It's real.
Jump on it.
Yeah.
And as I was mentioning earlier, it was an interesting challenge.
Yeah.
The lecture part has always been challenging for me. That's a lot of lecturing, a lot of structuring for the whole culture.
Sure.
All elements.
All elements.
And then I would do my dance stuff with breaking and rocking.
Yeah.
So I'm it's looking good. It's looking good,
Good, yeah.
And it's like for me, whoever and whenever, like
Absolutely.
It doesn't stop. The education is there. That's my passion. And I'm open-minded to that. So, yeah, holla,
Brother, thank you for coming.
Of course,
Thank
it's
you
my
for
pleasure.
coming.
Thank you for having me, man.
Thank you for being here. It's been an amazing hour for me, man. Just trying to keep my composure. I've admired you for many years, your work. You always seem like a cool brother when I seen you at the jam. You say what's up, you keep it pushing. A legendary, iconic brother, man. Give it up for my man, Ken Swift.
Thank you. Appreciate that, man.
Solomon, I'm good. If you're good, my friend, is there something I forgot, man? Because right now,
It's all good, man.
Oh wait,
I
got my tagline, man.
Okay.
Let me close up right. My man Ken Swift has been in the house today, and it's been a true blessing and an honor to have him. And I just want to leave off by saying, in the words of the great Curtis Mayfield, remember that your dream is your only scheme. So keep on pushing and move on up. That's my time.
That's what's up.
Ken Swift.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Peace.